You're listening to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, episode 15.
On today's episode, we discuss this week in music, kingdom, and the nation's question of the day.
So sit back and chill with friends. You're listening to The After Show with the SojuTalk Nation. Welcome to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, a chill discussion on this week in the SojuTalk Nation. We're recording on Thursday morning, April 22nd, 2021, PST. I'm your host, Crispy, and joining me today, as always, is Koala. Hi, Koala.
Hello.
So, some housekeeping. Housekeeping/announcements. We're recording this Thursday morning because I had some family responsibilities yesterday, so we didn't get a recording session in. But this is going up immediately as we're done in the session. So very little editing. It's going to be a little bit of magic on my part to get it done. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge. I'm excited. Koala, how are you feeling today?
I'm tired.
As always. It's life. We're in April, moving into May soon. I'm sure things will get better eventually.
Wait, it's almost half of the year.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
We're a third of the way through.
I only have 2 months left of school. Hell yeah.
Let's go. And then Germany will still probably be on lockdown. But that's another question a question for another time.
Don't talk about it. Don't remind me.
Some other things that happened this week. On this week's Soju Sessions, on episode 3, I had the nation's K-music, Erde, KME, and him and I went to a really deep conversation about his origins with music, his favorite artist, Sumin, and I even snuck in Stacy in there, which is pretty cool. So check it out for his thoughts. And it was really insightful. It really kind of opened up my view and perspective of music and the music production process. A little bit of a spoiler. I learned in real time that KME used to be a DJ in high school and between high school and college. So I thought that was a really fun surprise to have in the moment. The next guest will be another member of the nation. This person, just to tease it a little bit, this person also goes by initials occasionally. So 3-letter initials occasionally. Going on to celebrating the nation, we do not have birthdays this week. So sad face there, but we do have a couple of birthdays coming up in the next few weeks and in May. So definitely look out for them. And then let's move on right now to this week in SojuTalk Music. We have 4 songs. We have Kang Daniel with Antidote, Wheein with Watercolor, Newest with Inside Out, and Day 6 with You Make Me. Let's start at the top with Kang Daniel and Antidote. Koala, what did you think about the crew's discussion this week, and what were your general thoughts about Kang Daniel?
I was very surprised at how Warren liked this song so much. I don't know what I expected, but I didn't expect this. He really loved it, as we will see later on the... Is it Spice Chart? It's Soju Chart, right?
Soju
it's
Chart,
not Spice Chart.
King. We're great.
Oh,
we're professionals, guys. 15 episodes. We got this.
I don't know what my problem with Kang Daniel is, but I always just think that his songs are never memorable enough for me. They are never bad, but then again, I always look at the view counts and at just sales. He's just, like, in comparison, I think he has, 36 million views right now. And I know that Day 6 has, 3 million, maybe 4. So he's way more popular than the others, but he still doesn't seem too prominent to me. I don't know if that's the correct thing to say, but also maybe because he's also not that prominent in the server, because I don't think we have any big KD fans. Correct me if I'm wrong. But his songs always just felt meh to me. It's nothing bad. I like Paranoia, the ones before. And this direction is it just feels very typical for this current trend. So it doesn't stick too much out for me.
I thought what you said was interesting about how even though Kang Daniel doesn't feel like he has a wide popularity, his numbers are always big, whether that's views, sales, and music show wins. And I feel like he's a great example of kind of the divide of K-pop fans. Not the divide in like competition or like combativeness between like groups and your favorite idols, but really just the idea of to one section of K-pop fans, he may not do it for them. I would say Warren is a really good example of his opinions about a person guided his ability and openness to like his music, right? But there's a section of Kang Daniel fans, a wide population of Kang Daniel fans who just love him. And I think it's also very just indicative of how K-pop works itself out, where to you and me and Warren, it may not work, but he has such a loyal fan base. And you know what? I give him the props, because if you stuck with him to this point, I think this song might actually be the one that turns the general population between the song itself, the music video, the choreography and dancing, and how he was focused in it. For me, this song is very angsty and had a bit of contemporary Western pop influence and like vibes. But I actually do like this song far more than his past songs. This one stood out to me the most. Like I can actually like envision it. And as I was watching the music video, it's not that I was dismissive of his past songs, but this one was more likely to stick with me afterwards. I thought that was interesting that Anita described it as trap rock, because there was a little bit of electric guitar in there. But I do agree with the dancing as being the most standout part of the overall package. I think they did mention on Produce he was the center and he was a very good dancer. But up until this point, dancing was never something that I felt was synonymous with Kang Daniel until now, where I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Doug had a comment, and I wanted to get your take on it.
What?
Crotch shots. Fan service, yes or no?
I honestly don't remember that.
Well, to be fair, you may not be the fan that it's servicing.
Who? I don't know who you're talking to.
I don't remember the crotch shot, but the way that they talked about it on the show, it sounded like it was a very important moment in the music video for people looking for that. And you know what? I'm here for the fan service. Not personally, but if it gives fans what they want, you give them what they want. Do you agree, Koala?
Totally.
So let's move on now to Wheein with Watercolor. I want to give a big shout out to a very special member of the nation, Delmonic. Del, he is the biggest Mamamoo fan on the server. He loves Wheein. He's been streaming the entire album for a week. And I just have to give him props for being such a dedicated fan. You know, it's sometimes these fandoms that make me feel connected to other people, regardless if I like the music, regardless if I enjoyed the music video. It's kind of the reason why K-pop exists. It's just to be enjoyed in your own special way and doesn't hurt anyone. So Del, you are a saint for doing such a thing. But moving on to the song and music video itself, before we go into the cruise takes, I want to get your opinions, Koala. What did you think about the song and music video?
It's pretty chill, I would say is the best description. I can definitely see myself vibe to it if I'm like studying or just working on an assignment or something like that. I would probably also not like put it on like if I would look for a specific song, this wouldn't be my choice probably, just like Warren said, if I remember correctly. But I have nothing against it. It's just a vibe song. It's just that type of song that you can really just chill to. like lo-fi playlists, for instance. So, yeah, I don't have any big opinions on it.
Warren made a great point about this song not being a song he'll skip over, but it's a song that he'll put on a playlist because the Mamamoo funk grooves elements with like the bass and Wheein's very clear vocals are just very pleasant to listen to, kind of in the background without too much attention given to it. So I do think that this song excels in that sense, where it's very pleasant. It's just a nice study song, reading song, especially for those that don't speak Korean like you and I. So the lyrics itself won't be too distracting. And I did think it was interesting that Anita made the comparison that this is a H&M song in a good way. Called, do they have H&Ms in Germany?
Do you think I live in a forest?
I don't know.
What
You
are
always
Germany?
you always say village, so I don't know. I just assume that it's like the village from the movie The Village.
My place is a village, not the whole country of Germany, okay?
I don't know how far you are from things. You say you're like close to Berlin, and then you say village.
Yeah.
It's like they still have villages in Germany. Okay, that's cool.
What the...
So that being said, do you feel like this captures that H&M vibe where it's like, a basic attire? It takes basic to know basic. Quote by Doug, directed to Warren. So I thought that was brilliant this week. But do you feel like it fits that like a fashion store? Like I wouldn't call H&M a chic, but they're like, just like commercial. Like commercial fashion clothes.
I would definitely say it fits to that because in the end, these type of like music in like commercial stores like H&M, I don't know what is there. Sarah? Do you call
Zara?
I don't know
Yeah.
how it's pronounced like that in English. How does the English language work? Well,
I don't know. Whatever, German.
it's just that typically if you're at these kind of stores, you don't want to be distracted too much, but if it would be like dead silent, it would be really awkward. So having this type of music in the background is pretty good and it fits that vibe.
I think that was a great description. I think if you're shopping in silence, it's real awkward. But if you have a little bit of song to groove to and you're not super paying attention to it, this is the perfect song. So I think that was a spot on analysis, Koala. Wow, you're such a high fashion person. I didn't realize.
Oh my.
My last note I made for the song was it does have Ariana Grande vibes, but I also think that my opinion is a little bit influenced from her other song on the album with P1 Harmony called Trash. That one is very Ariana Grande, where it has that very like, I don't even know how to put it. Well, it has like a very similar Ariana Grande melodies. Well, that's gonna be really hard to say. And the song title Trash, I think she's like calling out someone else for being trash. So it has that same Ariana Grande attitude. And I feel like that painted a little bit of my feelings for Watercolor. And just the overall feeling for the album. I think it's a very good album in the sense that it's very listenable to. It's not a word. But again, I think this song is a good representation of, it's not something that's super impactful like Warren said, but it's something just nice to listen to for me. So yeah. Moving on now to newest with Inside Out. It's another boy group. Go ahead. What did you think?
It's their second full album, I believe. So, first of all, I hate the hair choices. Why does Ren have like light blue turquoise hair? What? No, don't do it. Just like the whole MV on its own was already confusing, and the hairstyles just didn't make it better. Aaron had a weird mullet thingy going on. Was just confused by it. The song on its own, though, it's very much just newest it fits in their niche, and it's very much in line with their past releases. I have listened to the full album like multiple times. I honestly don't remember any of the songs because I just leave it on the background and never look at like the titles and actually pay attention to it. But I know they have like multiple solo songs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure every member has at least one solo song, which they have also done in the past before. So I like that. All in all, I that velvet shirt that Warren mentioned, I just can't get it out of my head anymore. It's really bad.
I couldn't unsee it after he said it. I went back to rewatch the music video after the show. And I was like, that's all I could see. It's just like that.
You see, I was already paying attention to it because Becco was just switching between shirtless and that weird shirt the whole MV. So I was already confused. But then Warren pointed it out again, and then I was just, oh, no, don't. Why?
I mean, it's fashion. It's Runway House. It fits the vibe. And I do actually like Runway House music. And this song did stand out to me quite a bit. I'm not so sure how often I'll go back to it because I think there are other groups and other musicians that I would much prefer listening to. But I think if I'm making a Runway House playlist, I would definitely put this on there. Okay, let's talk about the dude with the hair, the seaweed hair. Did you find him?
No, I didn't.
I think I found him, but I'm still not sure. Like what
you have
Warren
a screenshot
means.
for me?
He's in a very few number of frames. I think that's the person.
Beginning, end. I'm on the MV right now,
So the guy you should be looking for is someone who has part of his head shaved, and then the other part is like hanging over his face. It's not that far, but it's like his head shaved and the other half is long. I think that's the person Warren mentioned, but that was the only backup dancer that stood out to me with different hair.
When are the backup dancers coming in?
Yeah.
I'm looking for it right now.
And the thing is, like, there's not that many frames with backup dancers prominent, like standing out in any of the shots. So you really have to like pause and like go through to like look at the backup dancers. I don't know. I think Warren has great attention to detail. So you know what? Props to Warren.
How did he see? Oh, I think I know who he means. Wait.
You see it now, right? But it's not
like
easy.
One half covered with hair and the other one is really weird and
it's shaved, right?
Shaved on the sides.
And the thing is, like, that's not easy to see. I mean, I get it that it stands out a lot.
It's extraordinary if you compare it to the other hairstyles.
And I think once you see it, you can't unsee it. But it did take me like a minute.
Oh my god, there's a whole... Oh my... Okay, that hairstyle is weird.
Okay, cool. I think we found it.
There's a close-up shot. I think... Oh, you can see it in the close-up shot. Oh, that's bad.
Excellent. A couple other notes about the song and music video. Okay, so I did watch the music video without music because I needed to mute to do something. I don't often do this, but I just like muted it for some reason. And I let it play for a good like 30 seconds. It's super disorienting without music. Like the cuts and the camera movement are very noticeable if there's no sound. And almost dizzying. So I don't know what the choice was to do that. Because I think a lot of like the straight on shots and like if they just really stuck to like the runway fashion show theme, it would have been just as effective. And I just don't understand why the camera moved like that so much because it moved a lot. And the last note I have is that they had expensive penthouse vibes.
Penthouse?
Oh, that's a show that you enjoy. I put that in quotes in the nets. Yeah, I think those are about it. Anita did mention that it had experimental high fashion vibes between the song and the styling choices, which going back to watch it without sound, just for that 30-second moment, the fashion is pretty nice as far as being experimental and like pushing, I guess, fashion forward. But I mean, just like you and I like just mentioned, it's okay. Odd's not correct, but it's not every day that you would wear things like that. Let's put it that way. It would have to be for very special occasions.
Which occasion do
or you would have to just be a famous person who is a brand ambassador for whatever expensive brand that is.
Oh, so you gonna wear that velvet shirt?
Okay, let's move on now to let's move on now to day 6 with "You Make Me." I'll start. I think day 6 does really cool music. They have a really cool band vibe. This music video did feel like an OST in a lot of ways. It had K-drama vibes, but to me, the story was very nebulous. In that I wasn't following the story very well, and I very much agreed with the crew when they started talking about how it was unclear whether he died and now he's in heaven with the girl, or what was actually happening was, I don't know, some weird experience where he's bleeding out and
lucid dreams.
Lucid dreams. Excellent, Koala. What did you think about the song and music video?
It definitely took me a bit longer to get used to it than normal Day 6 songs. But maybe because I'm just really tired in the past week, so I don't have the energy to actually pay attention to a lot of these things. So you need to imagine I put the MV on, watched it for the first 30 seconds. Then I got a message on my phone, answered that, and in the next moment, a completely different storyline just happened before my eyes. I was so confused and I didn't get it at all. Because I'm used with Day 6 that they do storylines. They've done it in the past with like, congratulations, you were beautiful. They've also done it with Shuni, I think. So this wasn't a new device, but this one just felt just chaotic in that sense. It was just really confusing. And also in the second run through, when I actually paid attention to it, I was still very confused and I didn't really get it all. I'm sure they probably have like interpreted it in interviews, but I haven't had time yet to look at all these extra content.
Yeah, I agree. I think Day 6 does a really nice job of making their music and music video match some type of narrative, whether that has to do with love, whether that has to do with internal angst. I think Zombie is a really nice example where they hit that sweet spot of like capturing a moment in time, where it's like the pandemic. I think we were like right in the middle of the pandemic. Zombie happened, and then everyone felt a certain type of way. And I think that was a very magical experience for Day 6, and I think they do that well. For this music video, I think because you weren't really paying attention to it, you can get lost very quickly in what's happening. Because I thought I was piecing together the story as I was watching it, and then it felt like it flipped and was something else. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was meant for Day 6 fans to piece together. Because I am not a Day 6 fan. I don't know like the history and background of like how their stories are created, and if there's a longer narrative, or I mean, let's just say it, lore connected to every music video. But it did feel like there was a little bit of disjointedness with what was happening. And I don't think the crew even understood what was happening particularly. But I can appreciate them artistically expressing themselves this way. Because I think it is similar to like how an anime would play out, with a little bit of the sadness, a little bit of the very like traumatic experience between like two people. But then also like, what does that look like if like your souls are meant to be together, or if it's like the afterlife, or if it was all a dream. which, all very cool abstract art things. It's just, for me, like stories, you got to be more straightforward with that in a 4-minute music video. So, music video didn't particularly work, but I think the song itself is pretty cool. And I like the way that Warren described it. And that really stood out to me when he said it was lo-fi hip-hop like intro. And then it went into signature like rock guitar sounds for Day 6. I wanted to ask you, Kuala, what do you feel like is Day 6's signature sound? And how do you feel like Day 6 is... What do you feel like Day 6 is known for musically?
I'm really bad at describing sounds. I myself would like always associate them with the sound they had with like the whole how was it called? I don't remember. But the year where they released like one MV each month, that's like the I Smile and I Wait and Yeposo era. I myself associate them more with that, even though they've changed in the past. It's been more rock lately, I would say, if you look at Sweet Chaos and Shoot Me and Zombie, and this one is also weird. So I don't really know where they're going right now. Because they're also like self-composing these things, so I'm really interested to see how Young K especially works things out right now.
I think that's really exciting that Day 6 can do that, right? Where I think they've been... Okay, I'm not even gonna venture a guess as to how long they've been around.
Guess it.
No. But it does feel like they've been around for a bit longer than a lot of other groups, and that they seem to be the more senior of this boy band, music instrument heavy, guitar, like actual band composition of a group. And it's really cool that they have the freedom to try different sounds, experiment within the genre, and do a lot of different things. That you can say like, yes, there was an era where they had similar sounding music, but for the most part, their sound is still changing, it's still growing, it's still evolving. And I feel like that's very interesting and exciting for Day 6 fans. And honestly keeps things fresh for me, because for me to listen to a boy group, we both know it takes a lot. So anytime a boy group can consistently keep itself fresh and new and general audience is interested, I think that is a win and stands out a lot. So any closing thoughts about this week in music, Koala?
Young K smaller than the Day 6 video. That the weird white extensions, I don't like it.
I mean,
why do they do it? They had it with Hyojin for Onf. But why do you keep doing? It's not good. It's
You don't know fashion? You don't understand fashion? I mean, fine. That's fine.
Oh, do you have white extensions right now after you cut your hair?
Oh, we can talk about that later. We'll talk about that in the check-in. So, well, yeah, that wraps up this week in SojuTalk Music. Let's move on now to the Soju chart. All right, let's start with number 3. At number 3, the crew landed on Kang Daniel with Antidote. At number 2, we have Day 6 with You Make Me. And at number 1, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have Stacy with ASAP. I could not be happier with this list. I think this list is excellent. I think we should just keep this list... Well, no, I can't say that.
You cannot.
I think this list should be relatively similar, with one inclusion next week. That's all I'll say.
Next week already? Is it already next week? No, it's the week after that.
Oh, perfect. So we have 2 weeks for it. Excellent. What did you think about how the crew landed on this list this week?
Confused by Katie. Since is this a Chungha kind of thing where Warren just starts to like a soloist and we don't even know why?
I have an idea why. This song is the most angsty of Katie's songs, Kang Daniel. for those who don't know Katie. And I to me, Warren has always had this underlying angsty, artistic, like art kid in him, right? So like for him to connect with the Kang Daniel song makes a lot of sense. Because when I first watched the music video, I was like, oh, this has a lot of like edginess and like angst and a lot of like feeling a certain type of way. Just like the world feels very heavy for Kang Daniel in this music video. And then Warren put it at number 1. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, sick. And I think that's really funny how the chart could be swayed so heavily by a first place vote. With Day 6, you know, securely having the number 2, and then Stacey, thank you for recognizing Stacey for a natural climb to the top, for giving Stacey their first music show win that Korea has not yet celebrated for them. So,
the crew has done this multiple times. That they gave a group a win before they actually had one.
Yeah, I think the crew's Soju chart should actually be part of the metrics for Korea. I don't know, that's just me. I think the Soju chart, SojuTalk Spice Soju chart is
We're so bad at this.
It's a lot to say. Let's be honest. It's a lot to say. It's a mouthful. All right, we're getting off topic. But yes, Stacey, I love this song. I love the mini album. I still listen to it. I actually have a longer conversation with K Music every day about it. So again, to plug the other show, go check it out if you want more Stacey in your life. And I do think Cammy does bring a lot of insightful perspectives on why he feels like Stacey and this sound are going to slowly become a more popularized direction. All right. Yeah, so that was this week in the SojuTalk Nation music. Let us know what you thought. I thought this was a very interesting week of music. Let's just put it that way. All right, so let's move on now to State of the Nation. So Doug does talk about anime, as usual. I don't really have much more to add. Just because, you know, Doug's just killing it on anime. I'm telling you, he should do a sake talk show, which is far more casual than the SojuTalk podcast. Because I think he could just do a stream of consciousness, talk about like what he likes, what he doesn't like, and like which waifu is
waifu tier list.
Waifu tier list, and which waifu has his heart for the week. You know what? I ain't mad about a person who catches feelings every week. That just means that they have feelings, and that, you know what? That's okay. That's a natural part of life. You know, when you have a buffet of so many personalities,
no,
so many interests.
Like the food analogies. Oh no. Oh.
You know, why you gotta stick to one corner of the buffet when, you know, you can have like your steak over here, you can have your Dungeness crabs, you can have a little bit of pasta, and then there's always dessert. Come on. That was very Warren right there.
Yes.
Warren, I appreciate you. You've had such a big influence on my life.
Oh my god.
Let's move on now to the kingdom discussion. Okay, let's just at the very top. Let's just make this very like open. I think we are going to primarily focus on the performances, and we're going to talk about how we enjoy the performances and how it's just nice to see all these groups on one program, on one show. Granted, they're not interacting with each other for a number of reasons, whether that's spoiling it, whether that's just like limiting group interactions and social distancing. I think it's a nice celebration for these 6 groups to be on one show, because I do think that the fandoms are strong for all of the groups, and it's a nice way for everyone to celebrate them in one place. With that said, we have 3 groups going this week for the second half of. To me, this is the first stage, because this is like their first like full on performance. Like the 100 seconds was great, and it was very elaborate. There was a lot to put into it. But with this is truly a stage with a budget, truly a stage with themes, and it's 4 minutes. Okay, so full performance. Excellent, amazing. We had Stray Kids with Side Effects / God's Menu, 80s with Symphony No. 9 from the Wonderland, and SF9 with Jealous. So Koala, overall thoughts and favorite performance of this week?
And that wasn't this hard to tell everyone that there's no budget. Like, I don't remember SF9 stages very much. And that's because 80s stage and Stray Kids stage was just very overwhelming with all the props they had. That being said, I think I liked Stray Kids more than 80s. I don't know, 80s was like close to being too much for me because like also the tentacle at the end just confused me. But overall, I like both stages.
I think the tentacle has a different connotation to us with what Doug is interested in currently.
Oh God.
Because when I saw the tentacle, I was like, I understand that this is a Kraken and that this is a pirate themed performance and that 80s have pirate lore. But all I see with the tentacle is Doug's interest in anime, and I can't unsee it.
Oh God.
That being said, I thought it was very clear that Stray Kids and 80s perhaps didn't get the budget memo, that there was a slight budget discrepancy with their performance as opposed to the other groups between the past 2 episodes. However, they were both very good performances. They were both very high quality performances, and I think the crew did make the comment that certain groups look like end of the year award shows and certain groups look just like repackaged, redone music shows. And again, I don't feel like that should go against the groups itself. I think that is a programming error by Mnet to have such a large disparity on how certain things looked. However, I think SF9 with their smaller budget, if in fact it was a smaller budget, we don't know for sure, did the best they did very well with what they had to offer. And to me, I felt like the choreography was the easiest to follow because of the fact that they didn't have like a large number of props and elaborate stages. And I think that they did a really cool thing with the mirrors to highlight and showcase the choreography. And the duet concept was pretty cool because it allowed us to see the individual members dance. I thought that was nice that Doug mentioned to Warren that, yes, Warren looks more for the musicality of a show, and we kind of just have to take this show at face value of this is going to be very performance heavy. It's going to be dancing, stages, there's going to be music, but don't expect the music to be the main showcase. And I think it's nice to temper expectations, right? If you can just like look at this as, to me, like I equate this to something similar to Good Girls, where they made it very clear it wasn't a competition show. So it was just nice to have all the members on stage doing various things, right? So that said, I don't understand the metrics for voting for this show. I understand there is voting, and there's going to be a ranking, and there will ultimately be a winner, which is great. But that side of things, I think I am more disconnected to, and I really just want to enjoy the stages for what they are. Koala, was there anything else with this episode and these 3 performances that stood out to you most?
I don't think so. Nah, not really.
Also, one note I made for the Stray Kids performance. So I did like the music, but I also do dig like the haunted house gothic horror theme of it all. I like horror. I like exploring like really dark, like demonic things. I don't know. That's just kind of my thing. And between ATEEZ and Stray Kids, you being more thematic, I also feel like they utilize the geography of the stage quite well. What I mean by that is they had a lot of front-on shots that you felt like, oh, this is the front of the stage. And then they would put a prop up and they would flip. So with Stray Kids, that was very distinguishable with like the white sheet and the two, and then the stage turning around, and then showcasing like the individual members. And I think the dance sequence that the main show talked about with, I forget which member it was, but he was standing on top, and then there was a mirrored upside down dancer doing the same choreography. I felt like those two things really did a nice job of utilizing space and geography, and then like kind of going off to what felt like the left to like this haunted house like hallway. I felt like that was really cool to give like a sense of space. For ATEEZ, them feeling like on a ship and then flipping to the tentacle. Yes, it's a tentacle. But again, really cool use of space and geography. So, nice job there for Stray Kids and ATEEZ. Coming up next week for Kingdom, they are covering each other's songs, I think is what the teaser was. Cole, what are your expectations and how are you feeling about that going to next week?
I've already seen it.
Very nice.
It aired today.
Well, we're kind of trying not to break the fourth wall here. But,
I can't say what I'm expecting if I've already seen half of the performances.
That's fair. Okay. You know what? We're going to leave it all in because, that's what we do here. We're kind of just, it's a conversation. It's a chat. Well, next week will be fun and interesting. It's probably already aired, so we're a little behind, and that's okay. So just look forward to the crew's discussion on song choices, and I think performance order also. It feels like performance order slightly matters. Perhaps maybe not in the competition itself, but for the construction of the show. Because I do feel like this episode felt like 3 boy groups in the same era, in the current era, all performing very similarly. So I think as far as a production standpoint and programming, I think those are interesting choices. Let's move on now to our weekly check-in, our closing thoughts. Okay, one quick thing I want to mention at the top of this. Doug edits this main show at the very end. I think those are just fun little Easter eggs, like moments of just like, yeah, we're kind of just doing things. It's a fun show. I mean, honestly, it's a good reflection that they're not taking it. It's not the most serious thing in the world. They are taking the show seriously insofar as it matters to them. But ultimately, it's just them hanging out. And if they mess up on something, go and edit it, and that's fine. How's your week going, Koala?
School. But a lot of 17 content for me this week. I am a very happy sim.
God, you're such a big 17 simp. It's kind of amazing. I don't understand. But you know what? You do what you gotta do.
What do you mean you don't understand? Oh my! Do I need to be as persistent as I am with Treasure? Is this what's going to happen?
Let's move on now to. No, you don't have to be persistent. I understand completely. It's just I didn't. You know what? No, I'll leave it at that. You know what? You do what you gotta do to keep your stuff going. I support 17 simple way. There was a really interesting question of the day this week that Therese had posted. Shout out to Therese. The question was, what's one thing you've done recently that took you back to what you would do before COVID? And it really got me to think about, pre-COVID life and how hopeful people are feeling right now. That the world is starting to open up slowly, at least in the United States. I'm sorry for Germany. I'm sorry for the EU. And just reading a few of the comments and answers, it was nice that people are regaining some semblance of normalcy. So for me, I've actually gone to the movie theater several times, and I've quite loved it, and I've enjoyed myself. I I still can't eat that much popcorn, but I did order a small popcorn. In Germany, that's probably like a large, because United States and sizes. I finished
Wait,
it.
oh my god.
It was great, and then I didn't feel great afterwards. It's like, oh man, this is a lot of butter. This is a lot of salt.
Oh yeah, right. Ew, salted popcorn. Oh,
Yeah. So not only are our proportions extremely larger than most other countries, we also add the worst things possible for your digestive tract and your arteries. But you know what? It tastes delicious, and we're America. Cole, what's life like for you now that you're hearing stories about other countries opening up? Do you have FOMO? Do you feel a certain type of way? What are your just overall feelings about all that?
Most concerning thing is that I don't believe I'm in the state that I'm ready for normal classes anymore. Like, if I look back, I went to school every day. I woke up at 5. What the hell? I how I was concentrated in class for like 7 hours straight. Huh?
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a really interesting transition back for a lot of students in the entire world. That's kind of like wild to say, where it's like a complete I don't like global shift of like how this period of teenager social development is all shifting at the same time. Me, with a background in psychology and social sciences, I find it extremely interesting, and hopefully 5-10 years down the line there will be studies and things written about kind of the social effect of being in a pandemic and having to be isolated and virtual classrooms in school over the past year and a half, and then that transition period of kids going back to school, reacclimating. Again, not to say that you're a science project. However, I think it's super fascinating, and I always like to look at things from the lens of an objective science observation. So, you know, if you become a statistic, Cola, just know that you are part of history.
Oh god.
Some other notes from the question of the day. Cammy went to eat dinner. No, sorry. Cammy ate at a diner on the way back from Yosemite. So not only has Cammy been going out in nature, but he went to eat at a diner. Do you have diners in Germany?
I don't think so. What is the definition of a diner?
So a diner is more of a like a casual restaurant, where like the main focus is like breakfast foods, steaks, and like very traditional American like menu. But it's done so in a way where it's like on the side of the road, and it's just very indicative of like the wide open spaces in like the United States as people like travel the roads and migrate, and just like out or on the road. I think that's like the best way I can put it. It's hard to really describe unless you've experienced like
I don't
a
think
diner.
we have that. We have McD's. We have McDonald's. Is that enough?
That's a fast food, so that's very different.
That's what you get on the highway here.
A diner is still like a sit-in restaurant. I don't know if diners are still very well. I think going in so Kami and I both live on the West Coast. I think once you move into like the Midwest and going East Coast, diners are more prominent. But here on the West Coast, just up and down the coast if we're driving, it's still mostly fast food. So a lot of McDonald's, a lot of Starbucks. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting American experience to eat at a diner. I'll just say that. No Bias Nuna went for tea, and Mina went for Korean barbecue. I miss Korean barbecue.
Oh.
I would love it. A couple quick notes from myself this week. I went outside. I got a haircut.
Accomplishment.
I'll just leave it at that. If you guys want to see pictures, let me know. If not, it'll just be a mystery for all eternity. I will just say the last time I got my haircut was the end of February 2020. And now it's
How long
April
has it been for me?
2021.
It's been more than a year for you. They weren't that long if you consider the time.
My hair?
It was fine.
Yeah.
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 If it was more than a year, I thought it would be like shorter time period.
In February last year, my hair was pretty short. Like it was
Buzz
probably
cut short or just short?
no, maybe not buzz cut short. Probably shorter than what it is today.
Huh.
But when I cut it, it felt like it felt like a very anxious experience because it's like such a part of like my identity for the past year, and now it's like, oh, it's all gone.
People can see your ears now.
I know, it's wild.
It's
Yeah. However, I do like it way better, and I will maintain this. I do like shorter hair than longer
sorry,
hair.
listeners, you won't get edgy Crispy anymore. He doesn't want to be Lauren anymore.
You know what? You know what? Let's just move on. I hate you. And a quick note just on why we're recording this on Thursday morning. I had some family business to attend to in Los Angeles, which is a 5.5 hour, about 5 to 5.5 hour. Wow. Let's start over. The Bay Area to Los Angeles is about 5 to 6 hour long drive. Okay. So I did that on Tuesday night. I arrived in Los Angeles and then I left yesterday evening around 7. So I had to spend the entire day in Los Angeles. Just some family business. Don't need to go into too much detail, but it was nice to see all my relatives and it was really nice to support everyone. I did pop into SojuTalk Discord occasionally and noticed that we have a new simp channel.
Oh no.
I don't know what to do with it. So I'm just going to see where it goes. I'll just say that. Koala, any closing thoughts this week? Just on life? Germany? Youth with you?
Oh yeah, I'm mentally not ready for youth with you this week. I can't do it, Crispy. I just
elaborate. Tell us why you are such a emotional mess right now.
So there were spoilers on the rankings, third elimination, and it's a mess. It doesn't make sense at all. Like, there are like 3 dudes who have no talent at all. One dude bought himself in probably because his father is a big shareholder of Weibo, which is the company that sponsors this whole show. So, and because the source of the spoilers is pretty accurate, so I definitely know for sure that I need to say goodbye to like 4 of my favorites, and like 3 are kicked out of the top 9. And there's an episode today, but it's just a boring fan service episode. I was expecting like performances at least, so
I have a question.
Yes.
Are there 2 episodes every week?
Yes.
How many hours of content is that?
I think last week it was like 6 hours.
I don't have a response. I'm just sitting here in shock that there's 6
I think
hours.
at the beginning in the beginning it was like 7, maybe even.
I don't
Not
have a
too sure.
response. I think you are very dedicated.
Oh, you see, I always watch it at the time like 11 p.m. when I am not motivated for like school anyway, so I just call my cousin and we watch it together and leave it on the background while we talk.
That's actually a nice bonding experience. I mean, there's only so much you can pay attention to with a show that has 6 hours of weekly content, and it's probably just really nice to be able to do it with a family member and someone you know very well. Yeah, I don't really have anywhere else to go with youth with you. It's kind of amazing that there's 6 hours of content every single week. Well, I guess let me ask you this: do you feel like the show is starting to come together? Like the group itself is coalescing, as far as what it's ultimately going to look like at the end?
I'm not too sure. Wait, which I think we have 2 weeks left for the final episode where the group will be. By the way, the group name was spoiled. It's bad. Rock 9. What the fuck?
Oh, nice.
Just don't. But yeah, we have 2 weeks left for the final event. And I'm not too quite sure how this will progress in the next 2 weeks. Now we know that there's rigging going on, like obvious rigging. I don't know why they haven't done it in the past. Because he's been the son of the shareholder since forever, but who knows? They've made weird decisions lately. And I think like you can vote by buying like that weird milk thingy they promote. And China is banning like fundraising stuff, so it will be interesting to see how that will play into the whole ranking in the group and how it will end up looking like.
I'm really curious. Well, like two things. So I'm really curious if Rock 9 has a different translation in Chinese. If it just like sounds.
It's
cool.
Probably Rock 9 because the title song is We Rock.
Okay, so it's an English group name. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. I mean, it'll grow on people. It's pretty short. It's simple. The meaning itself kind of sounds funky, but I mean, for non-English speakers, I'm sure it doesn't sound any stranger than like Day 6 or like 17 or like any other group that has like a number in their name. With regards to like the voting, again, this is just more my personal feelings about like competition shows. It's fine because ultimately it's a popularity contest. And I have to like separate myself from the fact that voting and metrics will just be unclear and not transparent, because ultimately it's a money-making situation. Like these shows are not like, they're not foundations to raise money for free, right? They are things for profit. And if they're doing things relatively within the boundaries of legality, you know what? Do what you gotta do. You know, it's your show. But again, like, yeah, I think if you can just enjoy the show for what it is and try your best to separate yourself from the questionable voting situations for all the shows, I think it's fun. I think it's great. But I do feel for those and feel for people like you who do invest yourselves and put into question why certain members are pushed the way they are. So, you know, I feel bad insofar as you've all invested so much of your time and life into it. But I hope that you guys can sleep.
YG trainee, it's double investment.
We are YG trash. I mean, it goes without saying.
Lisa's having a stage next week, I think, or this week.
Hey, nice.
Either way around. So you should be looking. Oh, I don't know whether it's like available in the US. So
I don't. You know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll get it clipped out on one of the Blackpink
Twitter.
Like, yeah, one of the Blackpink fan sites. They do a nice job of keeping up with that stuff, by the way. Like, I will say, like, for someone who isn't watching the show and sometimes may not be able to access the YouTube videos for a number of geographical limitations, it's nice to have the moments captured that
I'm getting spoiled by the moments that Crispy is sending me, okay? That's how well they are prepared for this.
I just got to do a better job of not sending you things immediately. Although they do post it like immediately.
Yeah,
so
they do.
I will give them credit for that. Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop right there. I think we did a nice job this week of catching up, and you know what? I hope things turn up for you with school eventually. Thank you for listening to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, episode 15.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord.
This has been the SojuTalk Nation. For Koala, this is Crispy. Bye.
Bye.